Hello, everyone. Welcome to the JuvoHub podcast. I am your host, Jonathan Sarr, and today I am joined by Alison Sallitt, Director of Consulting and Communications from Mark Taylor Residential. So, Alison, welcome to the show. It's so nice to have you on with us today.
Thank you. It's great to be here with you guys, Jonathan.
Yeah. You're the third person from Mark Taylor. You guys are amazing. I love your company. I love your energy. You always just have such cutting edge um, technology, ideas, leadership. You just rock the space. Property management industry, multifamily in particular. So grateful to have what you guys showcase on a day in and day out basis. So today we're talking, everyone, about launching and advancing your career with confidence and impact. Now, and I love this topic so much because what our industry is always in need of is hearing from individuals who have come from other industries. So, Alison, what's your background? How did you get into property management? Give us an idea of what it's like being in the communication sector.
Sure. So I come from corporate communications in a large healthcare system on the East Coast, and then in talent acquisition organizational strategy, again, corporate communications supporting that. So I have a long career of purely communications with project management as well. So it was really interesting to bring that into Mark Taylor about 3 years ago and learn about the multifamily industry and really build a communications project management and consulting structure that was unique to this industry. So there were so many things that I brought over, particularly from healthcare, because when you have a distributed workforce, it is really similar, even though the audience is a bit different. So many structural things were brought over, but then there were many learnings for me just joining Mark Taylor, joining the multifamily industry for the first time. It's so people focused. I truly love it so much. And there's a lot of innovation to be had, which just means there's a lot of opportunity there. So I actually found Mark Taylor because me and my fiance were moving across the country for his job opportunity. So I was looking around for an apartment with him as well as a job. And we walked into a Mark Taylor. We saw all the banners. It was a brand new community. The experience was so amazing with our leasing consultant, just learning more about this industry that I wasn't as familiar with, being from the East Coast and being from healthcare. And that actually led me to the website where I then applied, and they had their first communications position opened. And I've been there ever since, and I really just ran with it and got more and more involved in the industry.
You know, it's such an amazing experience because I know in my history, it's been some found it a little bit nerve wracking trying to transition from one industry to another. You know, you go from, well, this is all I know, this is my only background. So your experience, I know, is going to resonate a lot with our community and just what that is like. So, what would be your advice to someone then going through that experience? How could someone transition from coming from a completely different genre, completely different career path, and coming into multifamily? Anything you can share?
Yes, I think that building organizational awareness and building industry awareness is so important. You may be an expert in your field, like I was in communications, and you should apply a lot of those principles. But when you get into the multifamily industry, recognize that it's its own unique industry. The operations of it and the technology platforms, it's really important to get immersed in it first while applying those things, but also be confident in everything that you know. I had a lot of experience in communication that I wanted to bring forward because there's a lot of movement that is happening in multifamily and they can use that expertise. But really starting out, get on site, learn about the organization, learn about the operations, and also look outside your organization. Go to conferences if you can. Something that I did when I first came here is John Carlson, our president, invited me to a few of his speaking opportunities where he really talked through, Mark Taylor and the industry. And I gained a lot of industry acumen and expertise just by listening to him. And, I feel like I have learned so much in these past 3 years, and I know there's more, but build that organizational awareness, know how to navigate it, build that industry awareness, but also be confident in the skills that you've built, because the multifamily industry is evolving and it needs your expertise.
Beautiful. I love the balance between the two, because sometimes you can be like, I know my sector, I know what I'm doing, and that type of attitude can be maybe hard to adjust for the new teammates that you're working with. But the immersion type approach to being in a new sector is fantastic. That's it's a I love to hear that, and at the same time bringing what you have with your experience and seeing how it could be applied into the industry. So, is there a particular experience or like a situation that you remember that would highlight what you were talking about?
Sure. I think I can talk a little bit about technology here
Hmm.
because, being in the multifamily industry, everyone knows that there's a lot of different platforms, a lot of different technology that you really have to learn. So, learning the resident journey in terms of, all the different platforms that people have to use in order to go through those, and, the leasing journey, and really just knowing what each technology is for, and also getting in it, even if you're in an administrative role, and learning about the account, and just learning about the whole purpose of it. That helped me so much understand the prospect and the resident journey, and just understand the amount of things that people have to use on site. So, our leasing consultants, when I first got here, I didn't realize how many platforms they're going in and out of. And you're seeing things pop up that are consolidating those, such as some of our consulting solutions.
Hmm.
But there's really a lot out there, and you have to understand the tech stack and the landscape in the industry.
Yeah, I look forward to hearing more about the consulting services in just a little bit as we go through our show. But very the takeaway point for me is like, make sure you know your audience, and just your comments about just seeing what Mark Taylor employees were going through. That's very impactful,
Mhm.
super super important. So let's transition a
Yes.
little bit to uh, how we can like gain awareness and building awareness. So what would you say are some strategies for someone who's new to multifamily to quickly
Mhm.
build their awareness of both the organization and the industry? Any other tips that you could share?
Yes, I would say that use the experts around you. Don't be afraid to shadow, ask about things, pull people in. Something that I like to do that's helpful in meetings or on projects is have the right stakeholder in the room and say, here's what I'm thinking, but I know this is your subject matter expertise. Am I in the right direction? Is this working? Or, can you tell me I'm looking for this problem, and before I go down a rabbit hole trying to solve it, go to that expert and learn about what's already there, whether it's technology, whether it's operations. There's a lot of unique solutions going on in the multifamily industry. And in order to learn about them, you just have to ask and lean on your experts, but then also foster those relationships. So if there's a go-to person in the company that knows a lot about operations, go to them, learn more about it. Someone in particular that knows a lot about development specifically is Jake Taylor, one of our managing directors,
Hmm.
and also one of our consultants. And the amount that I've learned from him just by shadowing him on different meetings specifically about development is really important. And my role in consulting is to really the drive forward the strategy and structure of it, and to bring in the subject matter experts. So it's particularly important for me to have that base level understanding and say, okay, this person, this client is really needing to know a lot about the development process, whether it's a construction loan or anything around that. And then I know to pull in him, but shadowing him in some of those meetings. And it's just asking, hey, like, I don't necessarily need to be on this call, but do you mind if I am? I just am building that knowledge.
That's incredible, Allison. That is so awesome. Sometimes we get into a new job position. It's just like, what's the policies and procedures? And we kind of stick to the line by line item of what's required in our job role. But it sounds like you've gone above and beyond to make sure you have a good, clear understanding of your who you're working with and the responsibilities
Mhm.
involved. Very, very cool.
Yes.
You mentioned a minute ago, like that John had taken you on some of his different speaking gigs that he's been privileged to do. Can we touch on
Yes.
that just a little bit more? Like, well, how have you found like going to networking events and going to industry related events? How has that helped you, and what do you recommend to the audience?
I really recommend, especially when you're first starting out or if you're first getting in a leadership role in multifamily, to go to those and shadow some of the leaders that you look up to, such as John. He's a great mentor he's really into the economics of it all and can explain things in a really clear way. And also, has been at Mark Taylor for 20 plus years. So he really knows how we work and how we evolve and how this industry has kind of come to the point where it's at. So, whoever is your mentor or leader, go watch them speak, see how they network, see how they interact. And that will help you understand how interconnected the multifamily industry is, the role that vendors play, partners, clients, and just leaders in the industry. It's just helpful to know that landscape. And,
Hmm.
if you have that person or the people who can kind of show you the ropes when you first get in, that's really helpful. Sometimes when you just read a document that says, oh, okay, this is, or a blog that's just talking about the multifamily industry and laying it out, it doesn't click as much as when you hear that back-to-back discussion and when you see other leaders in the field. So a lot of the issues that we face, other leaders face. So in the past, really streamlining lead generation and lead management, and centralized leasing. All of those things were things that we've been working on for a long time. And we found that's what others are facing. So it's helpful to see, okay, where is the need here? How can we help out and understand what's valuable to potential clients?
I love it. Yeah, I love networking, and it's so encouraging me to hear your perspective on it too, and how it's benefited you coming from uh, one sector, moving into another sector, moving into property management. I'm with you. I didn't really have much of a background. I came in. I've shared this on the show before. I mean, my background for almost 15 years was importing flowers. I ran a major wholesale market in South Florida. And so to come into property management, to be able to go to IRM events, National Apartment Association events, and other local events was huge. So huge. It just gave me that, like you said, a nice, well-rounded approach, understanding what is the industry, how do people connect the dots, who works with who and why, and being able to go to those education sessions was just I feel like you said there, it literally it catapulted me. I think I would have been years behind if the organization I worked for at the time was not so into like we need to go to these events. Please join your apartment association. Please join your IRM. Please whatever you can do to support the industry. It's going to help the industry. It's going to help your career. So yeah, good to hear that from you
Absolutely.
as
And
well.
things are moving so fast, especially in the
Mhm.
last couple of years with where we're going with innovation and centralization,
Mhm.
all those things. You need to stay connected to what other companies are doing and understand the solutions that are coming out in order to keep up. I think that it's taken our industry longer than maybe some others to innovate. And but now it's kind of go time. It's really,
Mhm.
especially with the way that the economy is right now, we need to be as efficient as possible. And post COVID, I think people realize a lot of things need to change. We can't just do the same thing that we've always done in the traditional space. It especially when competitors are moving forward. Mark Taylor loves to be the one to move the needle and be at the forefront of that. So we really pressed the gas, after COVID and kept going with it and still are today, particularly in some of the marketing fields.
Yeah. Yeah, I concur. I totally agree. Um, you know, unfortunately, yes, multifamily traditionally has been a little bit behind. Um, but thankfully, with hope, podcasts like this one will continue to beat the drum. And Mark Taylor, yes, you, the rest of the crew, you guys are industry leaders, and thank you for what you do because It is. It's more than just harnessing technology or chasing the next shiny thing, but being able to leverage it to be more resourceful is the critical component. And yeah, we're coming up soon to hear about what you guys are doing with the consulting component of it. So looking forward, our audience is looking forward to hearing about that too. Um, let's just take a minute and talk about leadership. You've touched on that a little bit. And what would you say, like, was that something that came natural to you? Was it something that you feel like you needed to develop? And what was that experience like? What would you share with our audience on that topic?
Yes, I think I have a bit of a unique perspective on this as well, because the leadership part definitely comes natural to me. I like to be driving forward. I like to be participating in the decisions. That part is natural. However, I am more of an introverted person. So some of the things that, speaking at events, didn't come as naturally to me. But I find that when you just root in what you know and that expertise, and you're really confident in what you do know, and then ask and admit for the things that you don't, that has really helped me. But I have a bit of a unique leadership style. I really love to connect one-on-one with each of my team members, and really develop their skills. But it ends up being some of the most rewarding things, being in a leadership role, seeing someone, say, overcome a challenge, or seeing someone just grow and work through things, potentially because of the support that you've given them. So it's really a chance to change someone's career all the time that you have. And it's knowing the how important that is to the other people, and also trusting your people and trying to hire people to be even better than you. Like I really like to hire people who impress me and are resilient and inspire me. And I want them to just continue growing. And when you kind of have that servant leadership, I think that whether you're introverted, whether you're extroverted, you become really comfortable in that, because you're doing a great thing every day. And just remembering that definitely motivates me further.
Beautiful. I hear that expression, servant leadership, from some of my close industry friends, and I love it. I love it. It paints so many beautiful pictures. We can, if we have we spend most of our time at our work, at our secular jobs, like our companies, our family in many ways, and that type of leadership just creates a comfortable environment for growth
Mm-hmm.
and for expansion, and that serves the organization well. Very, very cool.
Yeah. And it may be cheesy, but one other thing I'll add is really be you. If you're not being authentic, people
Yeah.
know. So it really just works better. Leadership may look different on other people, but as long as you have that drive and you have that purpose, and you're doing the right thing, you're doing great. So just remember, just be authentic. That's something that we're very big on here.
Yeah. No, it's not cheesy. No, I'm glad you said that. It's a good reminder. We can see through the facade. Like it's easy to just see right through it, that it's not coming naturally. So allow your
Yes.
leadership to develop naturally. Just let your personality. And I love the fact that you highlighted introvert, extrovert. That's always a big topic. We could be on
Mm-hmm.
like 20 podcasts on the leadership styles for both of those types. But it's
Truly.
nice to highlight that. So it kind of leads though to an interesting question. So if you're naturally introverted, what does that look like when it comes to making sure that your voice is heard in that room, and you're trying to talk about a particular subject with a measure of authority or confidence? What would
Mm-hmm.
you say to our audience? How has that been for you? Any advice for our listening audience here?
Yes, I have a lot of advice, but I'll try and narrow it down to a few. I think the most important thing when you are preparing for a big meeting or a speaking engagement, or something that your voice is really crucial to be heard in, is preparation. It sounds very simple, but if you're prepared, if you know your stuff, you will be that much more confident when you are presenting it or voicing your opinion. And, it comes back to that, like, know your expertise and don't question yourself. So being introverted doesn't mean being not confident. It can be both, that you're introverted and confident in what you know. So be prepared. Do not question yourself, but also always be reading social cues. I think that is really helpful to me. I'm looking for cues for people, whether they're nodding in agreement. I can tell if they want to voice a concern, and then I want to hear that. I want to ask it. So, encouraging open communication is also another one. So I would say those are probably the most important tips that I can give, but I could go on forever. There are so many.
Oh, absolutely. But I think you highlighted some key ones. Just being able to read body language that's an art. It's not something you can just pick up. So that's super important. So what about situations now that are tense? So not every situation is bubbles and hummingbirds and chewing gum and stuff. It's like there are challenging things that happen. And when you're faced with those challenges, how do you find the positive? How do you find the yes in those difficult circumstances?
Yeah, that comes across many times with communications professionals, no matter what industry, because there's all this information and you can't have too much noise, whether it's externally or internally to your team members. You have to, make leaders understand what is important. So there are some times where you do have to redirect some things. If, say team members are getting, 10 all company messages, that's not ideal in a day or in a week. So you have to negotiate with them and understand, finding a yes. The single best way to do this is to understand multiple perspectives and to voice
Mhm.
them and speak to them. So if you understand the goal of the different parties, then that will just, you know, make people find a common ground and think of the best thing for the company. Or if it's the client, it doesn't matter who it is. If you really understand what is motivating them and what their perspective is, that is helpful. If you feel like they're not understanding your perspective, I think you can always voice that. From my perspective, this is happening. From yours, I can understand why you want this. Let's try to get to a common goal, and always connecting people back to what's important. It's not important to disagree on little things that can lead to tense situations that may be unnecessary. It's important that you accomplish the same goal, and sometimes drawing back to that and reminding everyone why you're here. It's to say, hey, we want people to get the appropriate benefits. They have this open enrollment. Drawing it back to that can be really helpful, because you're really trying to accomplish the same thing. And you can use that example for any situations, but if you understand what motivates people and you understand their perspective, then you can come to an agreement.
Yeah, that's fantastic. As you were saying that, the word that popped in my mind was yield, and it sounds like when there's in those challenging situations, you're looking for ways to establish. And is that a good word? Like when you look for those opportunities, it's like, all right, well, you may have had something in your head already. This is the way we're going to do it. But after hearing three or four other people, it's like you can adjust based on that
Mhm.
feedback and based on that conversation. Is that right?
Yeah, I would say adaptability is probably the best
Adaptability.
way to describe it, because you got to understand that it's okay to change up
Hmm.
your original thought because of other people's perspectives. So it's okay to yield, but at the same time, if something's really important and you need to have your perspective heard, sometimes other people need to adapt as well. So it's really a partnership all around, and communications, project management, and truly consulting, because we use our internal resources and the same ones for MTR, for consulting. All around, you're working with so many different stakeholders and so many different perspectives, opinions, areas of expertise. You have to be adaptable and to use those negotiation strategies whatever I'm doing. So it's a really important one for those who are in maybe corporate situations where they're working with other departments, or if you're on site and you're a leasing consultant working with the residents. This resident, for example, they might be upset about something, but it's only because maybe they don't feel safe in their home, or they don't feel respected in their home. And at the end of the day, they just want to feel happy and safe, and they just want all those home-like qualities. Whereas the leasing consultant is trying to accomplish their job, but part of that is seeing what the resident needs in order to get to their common goal, which is just a safe, happy community that's full of residents.
Yeah. I yield to your better word, adaptable.
Thank you.
Excellent word. Excellent word. And man, you're well versed in the industry. This is such an amazing conversation, and it's refreshing to hear your perspectives and what you've seen at Mark Taylor, keeping that adaptable, open-minded. So now let's talk about some of the things that that you're involved in with Mark Taylor. Mark Taylor does property management, but you're also doing some like consulting type work. So being open-minded, being adaptable, seeing changes and trends, like what is it? Why is Mark Taylor involved in this component? Tell our audience a little bit about it.
Yeah, so we have 3 divisions of Mark Taylor, just to give everyone a baseline. We have Mark Taylor Development, and we have developed 72 Class 8 properties across the Phoenix area.
Mm-hmm.
We've retained management to about 12 of those. Then we have Mark Taylor Residential, our second division, which is property management, both for those 12 Mark Taylor properties, as well as about 100 third-party client assets. And then we have Mark Taylor Consulting, which is the newer division, our third division. And the reason that was created is because people keep calling on us and want our expertise ahead of the property management cycle or outside of it. So, for example, if someone is developing a community, it takes years to actually get to the part where there's property management and where you're opening the doors for the residents. So people will call us and want to partner with us. And we basically resourced up so we would be able to be that advisory partner along the whole journey. And then secondly, we noticed that, in Mark Taylor Consulting, we noticed that people really needed help with lead generation and lead management. And there were a lot of companies trying to centralize their leasing platform. So what we have done, because we have a centralized leasing platform, is started saying, okay, if you want to plug in to this centralized leasing platform, we'll do all your lead generation. We have a centralized CRM, and we have a concierge team that is virtual and can basically be on call. So that entire process can plug right into your operation. So theoretically, you can be on site if you're, say, a manager or a leasing consultant, and you will just have tours and you will have residents, and you don't need to basically maintain a website, spend a ton on advertising, answer your phones for leads. You just have to manage your community. So that's kind of our latest innovation, is we're realizing that people spend too much and gain too little from the traditional marketing strategy of lead management and lead generation. And a lot of times they're just not answering the phones because you get so busy on site. Yeah. So the call answer rate sits pretty low. Dustin Lacey's the expert on this, but it sits probably around the 30s for the average property. Not ours though, because we do use these services, and we can double that, if not more, by having the concierge services. So it's really answering the phones, nurturing those leads, sourcing those leads in the first place, and driving them all the way to lease in your community. It's a new offering called Tenant Source that we have at Mark Taylor. But to sum it all up, Mark Taylor Consulting is that third division, and we basically offer some of the a la carte items or the lead management and lead generation platform that you can get with property management, whether you're in an agreement with us or not.
Yeah, beautiful. That sounds so cool. Yeah, I love it. I love it. And I love the way you brought that in with this whole theme of where we have to keep making progress. We know we're not me specifically. I've been on site and watched it. And yes, it's crazy. It is crazy. I'm like, I don't know how anybody gets any work done around here. This it is just so busy. And yes. With that experience and watching that, it's like, yeah, as an industry, we have to keep innovating. So it is super, super important so that we can serve the customers, we can serve them better. And if we can
Mhm.
leverage technology in that way, then we just have to keep educating our teams to be able to use those tools like what you guys are offering too. That is
Mhm.
very, very, very cool.
Yeah.
So,
And for the, maybe smaller, just to add to that, for some of
mhm.
the smaller companies, it may be hard to take on this whole beast of centralized leasing. So it's in many ways, we have it figured out and we can plug right into there. So we're really helping our clients again accomplish their goals of just having a high occupancy and a community full of happy residents.
Yeah, good point, good point. Yeah, we don't want anybody listening to think, well, that's only for the big companies that can manage that kind of stuff. No, there's everyone in property management can take advantage of that, no matter what the size. It's just t- for some that I've found in teaching over the years that they're afraid to take the leap into technology sometimes, and that's more the mental hurdle that some have to figure out a way to get past. But once they do, then they're like, "Oh man, this is great! This is so I don't know where this has been my whole life." It's like, but it's
Yeah,
sometimes
then you
it's just
wonder how did I do it before?
right, exactly, exactly. But you get past the mental challenges that come with embracing new technology or new ways of doing business, and that's what this show's all about. We want to share it with everyone. There's some things out there, people. We got to take advantage of it. Allison's got the
Yes.
stuff. She knows what she's talking about. So
We
let's
figured it
wrap it
out for
up.
you.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about because I think you're such a showcase, Allison, for our audience on, where you came from healthcare. You're in property management. You're a leader. You're speaking about this. You've been on shows before. Now you're on JuvoHub, and that's awesome. We're so happy to have you. What would you say to the audience who, they're thinking, okay, what can I do with my career? What would be some tools or some resources that I should take advantage of? Any advice?
Yes, the biggest mindset that has helped me is to pursue business problems instead of avoid them. I think
Mm,
in company culture, any company culture, but particularly multifamily, it can be easy to say, oh, we don't have that, or the industry doesn't have a standard for that, and really avoid those problems. But if you pursue them and you confront them and you solve them, then you get the beauty of it is you get to create something fully your own and new, and you get to create that standard. In multifamily, I haven't quite seen a standard for strategic communications, or strategic project management. And those were things that I was able to really head up and then create a new standard for our company that we're trying to spread elsewhere. But then also with consulting, there's not really a standard there either.
mm,
And so, really, just diving headfirst into problems is what has helped me the most in order to gain more opportunity and just grow my career and make me more well rounded. But, consulting being something that we have tried different avenues and we have finally found that true business need. I would just say keep pushing and know that, people avoid problems for a reason because they're tough to solve, but the reward is there and it is worth all the work. And to keep in mind all the things that we talked about today, such as organizational awareness and industry awareness. It's great to have goals of your own, but it's even better to understand the goals of the business, which will ultimately help you elevate and move forward if you can help the business, and of the industry, which will help you as well. And that understanding and acumen will help you navigate your career here. And yeah, that's my best advice.
yeah. And that's a great way to wrap it up, because that's our tendency sometimes, isn't it? It's like, no, I don't want to deal with that. I'll wait till tomorrow. I'll
Yes.
deal with it. And the problem's still there, and it's still going to be there for every tomorrow. So I think that's
Mhm.
amazing advice. And I know those who are listening are going to want to reach out and connect with you, because I feel just from this episode, your comments, your approach, bridging the gap between industries, tackling the industry, bringing a fresh approach to communication strategy, a lot are going to want to connect with you. So how can people connect with you? How can people learn more about Mark Taylor Consulting?
They can reach out to me on LinkedIn. I look at all my messages, so feel free to look me up and reach out on LinkedIn. Or you could also email consulting@mark-taylor.com, and I'll answer as well.
Okay, perfect. And we'll definitely have a link to your LinkedIn profile in our show notes so that everyone can do that. Alison, what an
Great.
amazing show. Like, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to be here, help our industry in this way. From what I've learned just briefly on this show, I mean, the industry gave a lot to you to help you get used to what it's all about and its beauties and its craziness all at the same time. So thank you for giving back to the industry by giving us your time and helping our audience really focus in on communication, advancing their career. So you are the mastermind. Appreciate you being on the show today.
Thank you so much for having me. I love this industry. Thank you for spreading the word about some of the new things that we're doing, and really appreciate your time as well.
Yeah. Hopefully down the road, we'll get you back on the show. We'll hear how the consulting gig is going and get some more tips from you, because I think there was a lot of other topics that were on your mind, but we'll have to put them into their own unique episode. Maybe we'll talk about introvert extrovert stuff next time or something. That might be a good one.
I would love to.
I would love to dive deep and get your thoughts on being an introvert in this industry, because I know a lot they kind of hide because of knowing that. My wife is one of them. She's very introverted, and anyway, we won't go on. We'll wait for another episode. So thank you so
Next
much.
episode.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. Alison, thank you so much. Mark Taylor Consulting. Make sure you connect with their audience. Make sure you share this podcast episode with your network and with your team. Thank you for being part of our community. Until next time, take care, everyone.